Hi everyone, to those of you who are kind enough to subscribe to my first episode. This is episode number 2 of the McLean Knits podcast by Maggie. No, she's trying to get my coffee now. You don't like that. So this episode I was thinking is actually going to be a little bit different than what I did in my first episode. I still intend on showing off whips and finished objects in future episodes. I just really enjoy that, and I love to see what other people are working on and what they've been creating. But for this episode, I thought I would do it a little bit different, because even though it is a sunny but chilly day outside in Nova Scotia, I am still already thinking about what I want to make for the spring and summer months. So today I'm going to talk about the 10 top makes that I want to make for the warmer months. And I will preface this by saying that there's no way I'm going to be able to make all 10. I do typically knit a size small, so I can often get through things sometimes a little bit quicker simply because I have to make a smaller size. But I also recognize that a lot of the makes that I have included in this list are in fingering weight yarn, so they do take me a little bit longer anyway. I'm not the fastest knitter, and I am still supposed to be doing school, which I should be doing right now, but I didn't want to. So I thought I would talk about knitting instead, because that's where my brain is at. So yeah, I'm going to talk about all the things that I want to make for warmer months, and what I don't make this year, maybe I'll put on my list for next year. The other thing is I do often get distracted by new patterns that are being released. So I'll have plans as to what I'm going to make, and then these beautiful new designs come out and all my plans go to nothing. So hopefully I can get some of these things done. One of them I've actually just finished, so I'm kind of cheating, I guess. I just bound off one of the makes last night, and it's still drying on my mats right now, and I'll show it in maybe my next episode. But yeah, I guess I will get started. And because I was so chaotic for my first episode, I thought this time I'm actually going to be prepared. I have a basket full of stash yarn that I have thought might be appropriate yarns to use for some of these patterns. And I do have my computer beside me with the list. And some information about each of the designs. So if I'm looking to my side, I am just trying to refer to my list because I have very poor memory. And Maggie is going to be making an appearance, and perhaps Molly will as well at some point too. I rarely get to spend time on the couch without my cats joining me. So the first make that I want to talk about, the first design, is the outline tank by Jessie Maed at Jessie May, and that is the one that I actually finished last night. I always want to participate in knit-alongs and make-alongs, and I always have these really good intentions, kind of like the list that I make of things I want to actually knit, and then I make it started and I just don't finish, or life gets busy and I don't finish. For whatever reason, I don't finish. Sometimes I don't even start. You're gonna be so distracting. Yeah, it's that time of the day. We have zoomies. The crazy eyes are out. What was I saying? Yeah, so I always have really good intentions as to what I'm going to make, and then for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. But I really wanted to participate in Chelsea at Knitting Tipsy. She is hosting right now an F Winter Mal, and the design that I chose, and technically didn't really choose even myself. I put on one of my Instagram stories a poll between 4 different designs that I was humming and hawing about. And it was a tie between the outline tank and another design that is on my list to talk about today. And for the F Winter Mal, I thought I would do the outline tank. It's been on my queue for quite a while to make. I even started it once upon a time in different yarn, and then I think, I don't know, work, mental health, something got in the way, and I didn't end up finishing it. And this time I chose an entirely different yarn and actually finished it just last night. I worked 2 night shifts over the weekend. I actually, while I'm in school, I have a couple jobs too, because you know, one job isn't enough. And yeah, I worked a couple of nights just on the weekend and got quite a bit of knitting done, thankfully, while I was there. And yeah, it turned out really cute. I tried it on before it was blocked, and I'm not sure how well it suits my body shape. I am very small, but I also am not curvaceous. I'm kind of built like a prepubescent boy, I often say. So I don't know how flattering it is on me yet, although blocking can really change the shape of things. So I am excited to try it on once it's fully dry and see how blocking has changed the fit a bit for me. The design, like I said, it is fingering weight yarn. This is all I have left of the yarn that I chose. It's this beautiful hot pink. It is Fuchsia by Malabrigo, their sock yarn. And that is all I have left of one skein. So I was actually able to knit the whole tank in less than one skein of sock yarn, which is always fun to actually not even have to dive into another skein, and I still have one left. The size range is excellent, and actually all the designs that I'm talking about today are size inclusive. That's something that I personally feel quite strongly about. Even though I am in a smaller body, I think that everybody should be able to knit and enjoy all the patterns out there. It shouldn't necessarily matter what body shape or size you are. So I feel really strongly about knitting size inclusive patterns. I see that a lot of designers are getting on board with that too, which is great to see. And if things aren't size inclusive, then I generally choose not to make them. So the size range for the Jessie Maed design is extra small to 5XL. I have a couple of her designs included in my list, and they all have a great size range. So it goes right up to a 60 to 62 inch bust. It is designed to have a little bit of positive ease, so about a ½ inch to about 3.5 inches, I believe. It is worked from the bottom up, and it has this beautiful drop stitch detailing. I'm including a picture, hopefully, because I am really working on my editing skills. They're bad. I've watched a few YouTube videos already on how to edit YouTube videos, but I am including photos. So you can see the photo. It is a really interesting design. I was a little stressed when I dropped the first stitch and unraveled it, because you just expect that the whole thing is going to come apart. But once I did one, I had a lot more confidence to unravel all the other drop stitches. The one thing too that I really like about Jessie's patterns when she creates them is that even if she is using a non-budget friendly yarn, I think sometimes she'll work with like ritual dyes. I don't know if that's the name, but she'll often include a list of budget friendly yarn choices as well. Obviously Malabrigo sock, it's not necessarily the most budget friendly, but there are a lot of other ones that you could use instead. But this is one that I did have in my stash, and I'm really trying to work with stash yarn because, as I discussed in my first episode, poverty is a real concern. And as much as I am tempted every single day to buy more yarn, I'm really, really trying to hold off for the time being because I need to eat. The next up on my list is the Classic Tee by Darling Jadore. This is one that I've had on my list as well for a while. It's just a really nice basic tee, and I love basic items as much as things like the outline tank. I mean, they're more of like a striking design in that they have these different elements to them. Sometimes those don't go with everything, right? And it's nice to have just the really basic items that you can throw on with any pair of pants or some skirts or things, whatever you like to wear. So this is one that I really wanted to wear or to make, and I saw that recently Rebecca from the Creabea, she put out a testing call for another kind of basic tee design. I did apply and I wasn't necessarily chosen, which is fine because again, I have this 10 item list of things that I would like to make, so that's okay. But I still really wanted a basic tee. And the nice thing, I guess, about this design too, and actually I just dropped my yarn on the floor, is that it actually does use a DK weight yarn. So it's not going to take me quite as long to work up, which is exciting. It's interesting how when you go from a fingering weight to another weight yarn, it just feels like it works up so much more quickly. Because again, as I said, I do tend to get designs made on a fairly consistent basis simply because I am knitting a smaller size, but I'm still not the fastest knitter in the world. So being able to work sometimes with a bit of a thicker weight yarn, even if it is just DK, helps the process move along a little bit more quickly. So the one, or the couple even, that I had in my stash that I thought might work, and I haven't gauge swatched for any of the rest, so I don't know yet whether or not they'll work, but excuse me, these are just possible options that I was looking at. One is this Nova Merino DK from KPC Yarns. It's this beautiful, I think it's called Rainforest Green, and I love green very much. My couch is green, but I love wearing green. Now, when I bought this yarn, I don't remember it being super expensive. I thought it was very reasonably priced, but then when I went and looked at the site recently because I was trying to refresh my memory about how much it cost, it looks like it's a lot more expensive now. And when I tried to choose that I was located in Canada, it even took me to a totally different website than what I had gone through the last time. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know that I'll order the yarn again simply because the cost would be too much for me, because they are only as well 50-gram balls of yarn. So probably not something I'll be able to purchase again, just financially it wouldn't make sense to me. But it is very nice. I have enjoyed working with it in the past, so I will use up what I have. So this is definitely a possible option. I think it would give it a really nice drape as well, just based on the feel and I don't know how I want to say that. I mean, it's a DK weight, but it seems to be a little bit thinner than my other option. So I think it would be a little bit more drapey. I don't know. I'll have to swatch and see. Because the other option that I do have is this San Nisgarn Duo in this beautiful navy color, which I also really enjoy. It does seem to be a little bit thicker than the KPC yarn Nova Merino. So I'm not sure which one will work, but I should have enough of both that they could each be an option. And for some of the designs that are on my list, I have included yarns for like the same yarn might end up in multiple options simply because if I don't use it for one design, I'll use it for another. So I may be showing you the same yarn more than once, but really making an effort to work on my stash. The next item on my list is and I'm probably gonna say this wrong, the Arcuate top. I don't know if I said that right. Arcuate? I don't know. Anyway, English is hard. By Charissa Lam at cl.knits. She has a lot of really cute summer designs, and again, incredibly size inclusive. So the size range for this design is, it comes in 14 possible sizes, ranging from a 30 to 61 inch bust. It is meant to be worn with either no ease or a little bit of negative ease. Just like the outline tank. Oh, and I didn't mention for the last top I was talking about, the Classic Tee by Darling Jadore, that is knit top down in a raglan construction. This top by Theresa Lam is similar to the outline tank in that it is knit from the bottom up, which I find personally can be a little bit tricky simply because it's hard to tell how well it's going to fit you. I love a top-down design because of how you can try it on as you go and kind of gauge the fit and whether or not you need to make some executive decisions along the way. But I do find with a bottom up, it's really harder for me to envision how it's going to turn out. It's kind of a, sorry, my other cat is now in the living room chasing dust, possibly, right? Okay, well, there you go. My one cat, you haven't probably seen her yet, but she is special needs. So when she is wandering around, it is she can create a bit of a commotion, but she is lovely. She is sweet. So yeah, so it's knit bottom up in the round to the underarms, then it's knit flat. The cables are both written and charted. I have gotten much better at reading cable charts. My confidence has grown over with the 2 chunky cable knit sweaters that I have made in the past year, the fern pullover and the alfalfa sweater that I made last year as well. I'll put pictures in both as well here, but much more confident now in knitting cable charts. And I also made, oh my gosh, Molly, you're gonna hurt yourself. I also made a one shoulder design by at White Owl Crochet Co, Molly. I believe it was the Nimbus top, and I really loved it. I wasn't sure how I was going to like a one shoulder design, simply because it's not something I've ever really worn before, but I got quite a bit of wear out of it last summer, and so I'd be happy to have another one in my closet. And I just love cables. I think they're so cute, they're so pretty, they look so challenging, but they're not, which I love. You know, it looks like you are really smart when you the cables, even if you're not, and I really like that. So yeah, I'd really like to make this one. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, I don't know, but it is on my list. It calls for, I believe, a sport weight yarn on the Ravelry page when I do own the pattern already, and I believe it said it actually lists like a DK weight yarn in the pattern itself. So the couple of yarns that I thought would be options, one is that Santa's Yarn Duo that I just showed, because I do have enough as well for this that I could make it. Not it and the classic tee, it'd have to be one or the other, but this would definitely be an option if I was looking for a DK weight. And the one other sport weight choice that I have in my stash as well, going back right to episode 1, it's a Knit Picks yarn. Knit Picks, I can do commissions, but it is Galileo in quartz. It's this beautiful burgundy maroon color. I don't know how well it's going to show up here, but I love the color. I've had it in my stash for a little while. I bought it to make another project that didn't work out. I think I was having a really hard time getting engaged with it for this other top I wanted to make. So I would be happy to try it for this top and see if it worked instead. So that's I'm not even gonna try to say the title again because I'm gonna get it wrong. Moving on. The next top on my list is from one of my favorite designers. So it is the Brightest tee by Lily Kate France at Lily Kate Makes. I think Lily is such a talented designer. She has been designing since she was a child. I mean, she's so young right now. She's still, I think, only in her early 20s. But I believe she started designing like in her early teens, which blows my mind. It's just so impressive. Her designs are really interesting. She has a lot of very classic looks. I just think they're stunning. She is a really, really great designer. I've knit several of her designs. I included them here because I knew I'd forget some. I've knit her the One That I Want crop. I've knit the Any Day cardigan, the Feels Right tee, the Lithium sweater, the Love Number sweater. The Love Number I haven't actually even gotten pictures of yet. I knit it sometime last semester, last year, but I will have to get some finished pictures of it. She's just an amazing designer. So the Brightest tee is one that uses fingering weight yarn as well. Comes in 9 sizes, ranging from a 28 to 30 inch bust to 60 to 62 inches again. It's also knit seamlessly from the top down, which I love. Love a seamless knit, love top down. It has these beautiful eyelet details along the front midsection, which I think are really cute. Yeah, I just think this would be a great way to use some of the sock yarn that I have in my stash, and I do have some. So some of the ones that I thought would work, because I think that I would need at least 2 skeins, not a full 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, but I don't think I'd be able to, like with the outline tee, I was able to get away with just using 1 skein. I don't think that I could do that with this tee. If I remember when I was looking at the yardage, I would be dipping into that 2nd skein, I believe, in order to make it. But I have a couple skeins of figure weight yarn in a few options. So one that I was thinking about is this Camp Fiber Yarns. It is in the color Purple Urchin, which I think is lovely. This is another really bright, I'm really loving the bright colors right now because I had a great time with brown and neutrals over the winter months, but summer is for color. So I have 2 skeins of this in my stash, and I might even have a little bit left from a third skein. I bought 3 of them, and I used some of them to make a hat for my friend's fiance. And yeah, so I should have plenty of this color that I could use. So that is an option. The other option that I had thought about, I once upon a time bought some of these, where's the other one? These variegated skeins by Hello Stella Fibers. I've had them in my stash for a little while now. I don't know if it was even last year that I bought them or possibly the year before. I love speckled yarns. I think they're so pretty. They're so pretty. So either one would make, I think, a beautiful Brightest tee, but I have 3 skeins of each anyway in my stash. So even if I used 1 and a bit of one of the colors, then I could probably knit another summer tee using the rest of that yarn. So we'll all go to good. We'll all get used. So I love that. So those are both options for my Brightest tee by Lily Kate Makes. Look it up. She's so smart. Love that. Hi guys, this is just editing me here. I am devastated and appalled, frankly, with myself that I forgot to mention this yarn that I realized I had still in my stash. It is from my good friend Becky Low Designs. She also dyes yarn. And I have 2 skeins of this beautiful Sweet Loretta. It's a sock fingering weight yarn. It's this lovely combination of blue and purple, and I love it so much. And this would make a gorgeous summer tee. So what design am I going to do with it? I don't know. 2 skeins of finger weight yarn. I could definitely make a lot of different summer tee designs or summer tank designs that I mentioned here today. So maybe let me know which one you think that this beautiful yarn would go best with. Becky is a wonderful human. She makes this beautiful yarn and she makes wonderful size inclusive designs. So if you are not already following her, you should be. Rant over. Thank you so much. The next tee on my list, or the next design, I should say, it's not a tee, it's another tank. Again, this one is by Theresa Lam. This was the other actually design that when I did that poll on my Instagram stories about what I should make for the F Winter Mal, this was the other contender that the outline tank got tied with. And I thought I could finish the outline tank within the Mal time frame. The Costal tank is so cute, and it's high on my list of things that I want to make. It is done in ribbing though, and ribbing can take me a little bit longer because I do knit English style. So I wasn't sure if I started it during the Mal, if I'd actually be able to finish it during the Mal, and I really wanted to actually finish a make along, like finally. So this is high on my list, and I have a few options. So actually just a little bit about the design itself. It's also knit bottom up, worked flat until you get to the top, or worked in the round until you get to the top, then worked flat. You can modify the length. So because you're working from the bottom up, and even if you're working from top down, you can modify the length. It looks quite cropped on the modeled photos, but if you don't like cropped, you don't have to make it as cropped. I would maybe even add a little bit of length for myself, despite the fact that I really don't have much of a torso. I don't necessarily always want my belly showing either. So yeah, I might even add like a touch of length as well. Although based on the yardages, I thought maybe I could get away with making this in possibly 1 skein of yarn as well. I'd have to see. Again, super extensive size range, goes from sizes 1 to 18 right up to a 62-inch bust. And again, it's looking for some negative ease. So a 2 to 4 inches of negative ease is recommended. You can also modify the straps up top to either knit them kind of straight down or crisscross in the back. And I think I really like the crisscross look, but yeah, this is also really high on my list. When it was tied with the outline tank, I really didn't know which one I wanted to make first, but I really want to actually finish a make along for the first time in my life. So I went with the outline tank and I finished it. So success. I need coffee, it's been a day. The next make on my list, or the next design, is another design by Jessie Maed. It's the Cozy Classic Light, but I thought I'd actually do a short sleeve version because again, I think this could make a really cute basic tee, which I love. And as much as I know I want to knit this probably 100 times, I want to knit it in with long sleeves. I want to knit the DK weight version. I want to knit it all the time because I do love a very basic raglan design. Again, it's just so versatile. You can wear it with anything. You can do whatever you want with it. You can add stripes, you can do whatever you want. It's so versatile. So knit from the top down, raglan construction, extra small to 5XL, so always size inclusive, which I love. The yarns that I was thinking of using, I need to remind myself. I have a few options. This one, and I have so many options. So many options. A few. I have these two colorways of Zen Yarn Garden. One is Blue Hawaii, one is Maple. I think this tee would be beautiful in either. I think I have 3 skeins of each. I bought these from what was at the time my local yarn store when I was still working as a dietitian in Ontario. I was living in Cambridge and they had, the first time in my life, I had a local yarn store and it was very exciting. It was in Galt, it's called Galt House of Yarn, and they have a lot of beautiful yarns. I'm still tempted to buy from them even though they're not local to me anymore. Because I always get their emails and so I get to see when things are on sale and in clearance, and that's hard for me. It's hard for me to resist temptation. I have no willpower. These are both options for my Cozy Classic Light short sleeve. I also have, again, a few more variegated yarns. I have this other one from Camp Fiber Yarns. It's called One of a Kind, so I believe it was just it's a one of a kind. It doesn't necessarily fit with the other colorways they normally produce, but I love the greens and the purples and the blues together. I just think this is so cute. And I think if you're going to use variegated yarns, it's so nice to use them in a design that can really show off the yarn where there's not a lot of other things going on and not a lot of like lace or cables, because then that design gets lost too when you have a really colorful or variegated speckly yarn. You don't really get to see the design element, and at the same time you're not really fully appreciating the yarn. So I really like using these types of yarns for things that are look like just more plain or basic, because then it makes it a little bit less plain or basic. That's super fun. And I could also use my Hello Stella too. I have enough of all of these that I could knit a Cozy Classic Light or a Cozy Classic Light with the full sleeves even. So the options are endless. You can see why I need to use up my stash yarn. I have some. So this actually is designed with a little bit of positive ease. And for anybody, I know I have some friends who subscribed who don't actually knit. They're just really cute and nice and will put up with me listen to me talk about yarn even more than I do when I'm just with them in person. So the negative, when I say negative ease, it actually means that if something was 0 ease, it would mean it was 0 ease. You have no extra fabric around your bust, but also it's not tighter than your bust. Negative ease is actually tighter, and then positive ease, you actually have a little bit more fabric. I'm also actually wearing my Autumn League pullover today too, that I couldn't remember the name of in my last episode because short-term memory. So that's what ease is actually referring to. Knit top down, can be made cropped or full length. The other nice thing that I didn't mention too that Jessie Maed offers is a pay what you can model. So she has the full price listed on her Ravelry page, but if for whatever reason you're interested in one of her designs and you're like me, where money is a bit of an issue at present, and it is for a lot of us right now, just with everything going on, the cost of living and inflation, and that's a whole other rant that I could get into. It can be hard sometimes to afford these beautiful designs that come out, but she does offer that. I think you just have to go to her website, and I don't know if you need to maybe subscribe to her email list, but she does offer some discount codes as well. So if you're interested in one of her designs and finances are an issue, that is an option, which I think is just really kind and really considerate. I love paying full price for patterns when I'm able to do that. Right now, that's really hard. So I do look for pattern sales or discount codes if I can, because aforementioned poverty. So that is, I don't even know what number I'm on. I didn't number them because that would be too planned, too not chaotic. The next design that I wanted to make is by James & Watts. It's the Look at My Hole shirt, and I think this is such an interesting design. I believe it was made to go along with one of Jessie Maed's bralettes. I think I even made a note of it. Oh, the As Friends tank. So you can wear the As Friends tank underneath and wear the Look at My Holes. I just love that name so much. You can wear that over top. I think this would be super cute with a bathing suit in the summertime when there's some beautiful beaches close to where I live, and I spent so much time at them last summer, and I fully intend on spending equally, if not more, time there this summer. I just think it would be so cute to be able to throw on over your bathing suit when you come back into town. If you want to stop and get a drink with somebody or something and you don't have time to go home and change, it's so cute. It can go over bralettes, it can go over tank tops, it can go over your bathing suit. I want to make it very much. I do recognize that this is going to be something that I will have to sit down and pay really close attention to what I'm doing though. This like almost mesh lace work is something that I'm not gonna be able to just sit in front of the TV and zone out and just knit it. I know I'm gonna have to be really paying really close attention. So it's not really appropriate for my classroom knitting just yet. I really need to be looking at some of the more basic designs that I can listen and knit on while I'm supposed to be taking in this information while I'm in class. So it's coming, but I'm gonna need a little bit of a break from school first. Next on my list is a design that has come out just recently, I believe, by wool.and.pines.designs. It is, oh, and I didn't mention the last one. Look at my holes. It also size inclusive, extra small to 5XL. It is knit top down in the round. It calls for a sport to DK weight yarn. So what I want to do, and again, the fact that I chose black, I just think it'd be so great in black. But any knitter knows that black yarn can be challenging. I think the fact that it's seamless would make using black yarn still be okay. Black yarn can be challenging for knitters to try to see what you're doing. But I do have this Shine Sport Weight yarn by Knit Picks Yarn. Super soft. It is 60% Pima cotton and 40% modal. Don't know, but I think this would be perfect. It's what I want to use when I do make a Look at My Hole shirt by James & Watts, who also has a podcast now, I believe, that I haven't gotten to see yet because one of my toxic traits, is that whenever I start anything, I have to start from the very beginning. So if there is a show out there and it's 9 episodes or 9 seasons, I have to start with season 1, episode 1 and work my way up to present. So I've been binging other knitting podcasts and loving every moment of it, but I always have to start back from like episode 1, even if it was 3 years ago. It's just something that I have to do. I have to see the growth from the very beginning. It's just what I do. So in saying that, I have binged a number of podcasts recently. I just finished binging at Knitted by Whitney's podcast, which I really loved. I love seeing the process coming from a plus size person knitting all these different designs and their take on it, because they can have such different, I don't know how to explain it. The concerns that they may have when looking at knitting patterns or evaluating like fit and everything, it's just not things that I would always think about. And so I really appreciate hearing that side of things. It's just been, I love her. I think she's so sweet. I love listening to her talk about books as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Just finished binging hers, and now I am binging the Knitting Pickle podcast by Laura at Penrose Knits as well. So I'm only part way through that one though. So when I'm done that, maybe I'll be able to get to James and Watts's new podcast too. I should really do school. Like, that is something that I really need to start focusing more of my time on, but I'm just not feeling it right now. So the next design that I tried to get into, got away from, I'm back to now, it's the Rockhound vest by wool.and.pines.designs. I think vests are really cute. And I don't know that I ever always would like pictured myself wearing a vest. The last time I remember really wearing vests was like my middle school era, and it wasn't a good look at that time. And the vests I'm referring to are quite a bit different, and I'm not going to put a picture in because that's horrifying. But I love the different like V-neck vests out there. I love like an oversized vest with a pair of jeans with nothing underneath, with a t-shirt underneath. I think they're so cute, and I really love this. It is a fingering weight as well, so I know it would take me a little bit longer because there is some cabling as well, but the design is beautiful. I really love it. I want to make it. The yarn that I was thinking of, oh, I didn't bring it with me. It is another Cascade Heritage yarn. Oh, I didn't actually show a Cascade Heritage yet either. I have some, but it is in the color linen. So it's just like a off-white color, but I thought that would be cute for it. Or I would actually choose my Zen Yarn Garden in maple, because I think this would make a really lovely vest color. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of for that one. So chaotic. Also very size inclusive, 34 inches to 70 inches. There is 4 to 8 inches of positive ease recommended. I think I might go for a little bit more positive ease because I kind of like the slouchy vest look, especially if you're not always wearing like a t-shirt or something underneath it. It is knit top down, flat with shaping down to the armholes, and then joined to be worked in the round from there. So also seamless, which I really like. And I believe there are some video tutorials included too. So if you get stuck on certain sections, that video support is there. And I think video support is where it's at. When I first started knitting, and I basically learned through YouTube, I learned everything by watching videos over and over and over and over. And for a while, when I first started knitting, I didn't knit anything that didn't come with a video tutorial, because I thought there was no way I could actually just follow a written pattern and come up with something appropriate on the other end. I always felt like I needed a video component for every step of the way, the whole time. Eventually, obviously, my confidence grew a little bit, and I was able to branch out into solely written patterns that didn't always come with video support. But I do think video support is wonderful, especially if you are either new to knitting or new to certain techniques. And sometimes I don't even know what the name of it is that I'm stuck on to look it up. You know, you don't even know what the technique or strategy is that you're looking for to actually Google on YouTube. So it can make sometimes finding those videos that already exist out there harder to find, because you just don't even know. You don't know what you don't know. I really want to make this. And I think that all of the, like a vest or the tees that I mentioned, I feel like they'd be really good, you know, going into the warmer months, like the spring. We can sometimes have a good spring, but we don't always get a lot of spring. Sometimes it can be just kind of cold and miserable through into April, and then all of a sudden it's 20 degrees out and you're walking into summer. So we don't always get a lot of spring, but when we do, it's lovely. I really love like a moderate climate. Summer in my apartment is incredibly hot. I had many mental breakdowns last summer over how hot I was, but I also can't afford to get air conditioning, so love that for me. So summer is hard, unless I'm at the beach, which is great. If I'm at the beach, it can be as hot as it wants. If I'm not at the beach, I need it to be 20 degrees, and probably no hotter than that, but I don't get to choose. So next on my list, actually it's a combination of two patterns, or not a combination, but I'd be happy knitting one or the other, ideally both, but at least one or the other. There are two different camisole designs by darling Jadore, again, that I previously mentioned. One is a chocolate camisole and the other is the classic camisole. The chocolate camisole, you can see, has some texture to it, whereas the classic camisole is just knitted stockinette. Seamlessly, there's both seamless designs in the round until you get to the cups, and then you're working flat from there on up. The yarn that I do have in my stash that I could use is another Sandnes Garn tin line, and this is I believe like a light fingering weight yarn even, but I would love a black camisole. I think that'd be really stunning, and again, you could pair it with anything and everything, and I think it'd be really cute. I'm leaning towards the classic simply because the stockinette just works up so much quickly than working texture, but I do love the look of the chocolate camisole too. And there's also another one, the blue something camisole by her as well, blue, I will put it in here somewhere because I can't think of the name, but it is one that also has more of like a texture pattern to it compared to the classic camisole. But any of them I think would be lovely. Goes from extra small to 5XL. They have about 3 to 5 inches of positive ease, and yeah, this one is pretty high on my list of things I want to make. It's been there for a while. I've had this yarn for a little while with the express purpose of making one of these camisoles. I have not made one yet, so it is high on my list of ones that I want to make this summer, or ideally before summer, so I can have it in the summertime. And that's why I want to think about these things now, so that by the time I get to summer, I actually already have some of these things made, and I'm not finishing them August 31st going into fall, which I've done before, and it's just poor planning on my part. The last top that I want to talk about is another one from Lily Kate France at Lily Kate Makes, and it is the Upwards top. Again, fingering weight yarn, goes in a size range from 28 to 30 inches to 60 to 62 inches. Also is designed to be worn with some negative ease, and it's also knit top seamlessly from the top down with some applied I-cord edging all along the collar and the armholes, which obviously just makes things look a lot more polished and less handmade, more like I bought this in a store. Like a non-knitting person. I love it. I think it's so cute. Again, she has so much torso. I have no torso at all. I don't know, the design would look very different on my body compared to her body. But when I was looking at the Ravelry project page for this design, which is something I love to do. I love looking at everybody's projects they post on Ravelry of these different designs, so that I can get an idea as to how it might look on my body compared to the designer's body when we have very different body shapes and types, and you just don't always get the sense from modeled photos. You know, what's that actually going to look like on me? Like, it looks great on them, but I don't look quite the same. So obviously she's much taller and has a lot of torso, me none, small. So it would look very different on me, but I thought when I was looking at the Ravelry project pages, it was looking so cute on so many different body types that I thought, okay, this might be something that I could get away with wearing as well, and I think it'd be a really cute summer top to have. The actual nice thing too, when I was looking at this design, is that I thought I could perhaps as well get away with just one skein of yarn, especially if I was only using one color. I know in her model photos, she used one color for the main body, and then she actually used another color for the edgings, and then she did the reverse. So the edgings color that she used for one of the tops, she used as the main color in the other top, and then again, main body color for her first, used as the edgings for her second. But if you were only using one color for the whole thing, I could maybe get away with just using the one skein of yarn. So I do have one skein of different colors of Cascade Heritage yarn, which is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon yarn. Again, I think I mentioned in my last episode, I really love jewel tones. I think that because I am so pale, jewel tones are much more flattering for me than really light colors. I like light colors, but I think that I can easily get washed out with them. So I would love to have projects that really only use one skein of yarn, so that I could actually use up some of these just random skeins in my stash. And I don't knit socks, so it's not like I could just make a pair of socks with them, which these would be great for sock yarn. However, I kind of want to make socks. Because I've been binging all these podcasts and I'm watching all these other designers make super cute socks, I want knit socks a lot. I am easily influenced. Like when somebody makes something and I see the beautiful design, I'm like, well, I want to make that too. And that is why I really love actually these types of videos. I love seeing what other people want to make and them talking about the designs they want to make. Because sometimes I look at something or like a design on Ravelry and I think, oh, I don't know if it's really for me. And then I hear somebody else talk about it and their vision of it, and I think, yeah, I want that. I want that in my life. So I love these types of videos. Even people say, you know what, I made 2 of the things that I wanted to make, or, you know, I didn't make any of them, or whatever. I still love seeing what inspires other people when it comes to knitwear and making and designing their own clothes. So I'm easily influenced. I'm watching all these other podcasters show off these beautiful yarns, and not yarns, but these beautiful designs they want to make. And yeah, what am I talking about? I'm watching all of these podcasters make socks. I want to make socks. The problem is that I suck at small circumference knitting. I suck at DPNs, I suck at magic loop, I suck at using the really tiny needles. You know, I love those for cuffs, I will say, like cuffs of shorts or of sleeves, because my other strategy is to just pull the shit out of my stitches in the round, just stretch them all out until I finish, which is just, it can be super tiresome, you know, but that has been my go-to strategy and has worked, I will say. However, I'm probably not the best. So I do switch to the smaller little needles, so I can still just knit in the round when when I'm just too stretched out and it's just causing me grief. I want to be proficient at DPNs. I want to be better at magic loop. I want to understand it. But I always end up with laddering. It doesn't matter what I do. DPNs, magic loop, I get these ladders of loose something along the sides, and I hate that. So I think I've knit one sock and like 2 like bulky or super chunky weight mittens in my life, and I've never knit anything else in a really small circumference because I just find it so hard. But knit socks are so cute, and there's so many cute designs out there, and I have these beautiful books, the saltwater mittens, if anybody is familiar. I think that's what they're called, the saltwater knit books, by a couple ladies in Newfoundland. They have all these fabulous Newfoundland designs in them of Newfoundland mitts and trigger mitts and gloves and socks, and I want to be able to make those things. So I really need to practice and not throw it away when I get frustrated, which is my go-to way of coping with things, is just throwing it away. I don't even know how I ever learned to knit, because really based on my personality, I should have failed once and given up. But here I am all these years later, how many years? We still don't know. But all these years later, and I'm still knitting. So I need to watch some tutorials and practice. That is the secret. But that's it. That's it for me today. I have gotten more and more chaotic as this has gone on, despite how prepared I really tried to be going into this. My next episode, I don't know when it will come out because I'm not that organized either, but I'll definitely show off my outline tank, and I am slowly but surely working on finishing my sound sweater by Molly at White Owl Crochet Co. I have most of one sleeve done now. Then I will join the other shoulder, knit the other sleeve, and then I just have to do the collar, and I will be done that one too. So everything else I've been putting on hold for now. My bibliophile mid that I showed in my first episode and my Northwood V-neck, I really wanted to get the outline tank and the sound sweater done first because one is a test and one is for the make along. So these I felt both had deadlines to them that I wanted to meet. Whereas the others were just things that I was working on for funsies. But once I have gotten farther along in my sound sweater, when I'm getting close to being done, then I'll start to pick up some other things. And I want to cast on at least one of the summer designs too, so that, like I say, by the time spring and summer actually chooses to roll around, I'm gonna be ready for it this year. I'm gonna have all the knits for it, and I cannot wait. I can wait to be super hot, but it will be nice to have more nice weather that we can actually get outside and not be freezing. So that's it. If you got this far, thank you so much. If you enjoyed any of this, or you want to talk about your spring, summer knit visions, then please subscribe and comment and tell me what you would like to make for the warmer months. I hope it is warmer wherever you are right now than it is here. Great. See you later.